everybody. Thank you all for being here, and a special welcome to Louisville, where he visits very often, more than any governor, I think, in our history, and that's our Governor, Andy Beshear. Let's give a welcome to him. We're excited to be gathered here today to share updates with you on our eviction prevention relief efforts. And it's hard to believe that 2 years ago yesterday, we had our first diagnosed COVID case here in Louisville. And nobody knew at that time the toll that the dastardly virus would take on so many lives and for how long, but we knew we needed to face those challenges together. And I gotta say, it feels a little funny standing up here without a mask on.
Feels pretty good too.
That feels great. But as we all knew, keeping us all safe and healthy was our top priority, and helping maintain safety and stable housing was really key to that goal for our city. In Louisville, we had recognized prior to the pandemic that evictions were a problem in our city. Louisville Metro convened housing advocates, nonprofits, and other partners to look at how we tackle what was a growing problem. We knew we had to keep residents housed. If you are not housed, your whole life becomes very, very problematic, so that has always been a top priority. So thanks to the existing collaboration, Louisville Metro and our partners were able to mobilize quickly to get rental assistance to residents facing eviction because of this pandemic, while ensuring that we met the federal government's strict reporting requirements. And as I look in the crowd, I see a lot of y'all have helped us throughout this entire time, and I want to say thank you very much for your steadfast efforts, not just during the pandemic, but before the pandemic, and I'm sure to follow as well. So thank all of you all. So what was developed was a multifaceted approach, which included a tenant-based program, court eviction diversion program, a community service provider program, and a landlord-based program. I want to recognize Area Community Ministries, Louisville Urban League, and Legal Aid Society for the outstanding work that they have done. And I especially want to recognize our dedicated and compassionate teams at the city's Office of Resilience and Community Services and the Office of Housing and Community Development, who have been working nonstop to administer this assistance. Let's give them a round of applause. And I know that we've got yellow signs. What are our signs saying here? That's right. Very good. Serving our city. Proud to serve Louisville. Well, thank you all for that. We appreciate that. So it's good to recognize you in the room here. Now, let's say, okay, remember what Muhammad Ali used to say? He said, if it's true, it ain't bragging. So we've got some really good outcomes to brag on here. Since the onset of the pandemic, we've been able to help 42,000 residents avoid eviction and remained housed. 42,000. A tremendous impact, and as testament to this work, the National Low Income Housing Coalition ranked Louisville, the great city of Louisville, #1 in the country for getting eviction prevention funds distributed. Wow. That's you all. Good job. That's right. And I know, like me, you guys just I couldn't bear the thought of somebody being unhoused because we couldn't process the money through. I mean, that's just not right. And you all just really rose to the occasion to get this done. So it's been possible because of the hard work of the organizations I just mentioned, you all, because of the significant funds from the state and federal governments. So as of January 31st, we have distributed more than $96 million in rental assistance. And you've got to have good partners to get this done. And during the many ups and downs over these last 2 years, I could not ask for a better partner than Governor Beshear. He has shown incredibly steady leadership. It's been a source of comfort to countless Kentuckians. And on behalf of the residents of Louisville, I especially want to thank him for advocating for funding to help our most vulnerable residents keep a roof over their head. So thank you, Governor, and I invite you to the podium to share a few words. Governor Andy Beshear.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and it is great to be in Louisville. I called this city my home for 15 years. Both of my children were born here. And I'm proud to say I'm a governor from Louisville. And maybe I'm the first governor to say out loud he's from Louisville. But I am so proud of this city. I am proud of your strength during COVID. I'm proud that you were willing to make the hard decisions. I'm proud of Mayor Beshear for his leadership. And I'm proud that you took what you already said that we in this city are, a city of compassion, and you applied it to the most difficult times that many of us have lived through. We are here today to celebrate, and that's what this is, a celebration, because we brought a gift. We're here to celebrate the hard work being done by Louisville City Government and the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund in continuing an important program and helping protect people who continue to be impacted by this one in every 100-year pandemic. We're also recognizing their work, your work, to prevent evictions at a time when it wasn't just an issue of right versus wrong, but an issue of life versus death. To think we are now 2 years and 2 days after the state's first case of COVID-19. And little did any of us know the journey that we would be on, how our lives would be turned upside down, and the fact that we would lose 14,000 Kentuckians, more than any 3 wars we've experienced put together, which shows that coming out of this, we're going to have both the internal and the external scars that we will bear, and we will need to give ourselves and each other time to grieve. But as we are here today, 2 years and 2 days after the start of this pandemic, I'm excited that things are looking better. With every metric that we measure going down and going steadily down. And we hope we are turning a corner to where we can not just stumble out of COVID-19, but sprint. Because while these 2 years have been difficult, some of the most challenging of our lifetime, we are seeing some really bright days ahead. You know, just last year, in the midst of this pandemic, we broke every economic development record in the books. We had $11.2 billion of new economic investment with a previous record of about 7.5. We created 18,000 new jobs at the second highest wage we had ever seen. We had one of the largest projects in the entire United States pick us in the Ford SK battery plant. We operationalized Amazon's largest investment in their history in northern Kentucky. We said hello and broke ground on what will be the cleanest, greenest recycled paper mill in the world. At $500 million in Henderson will be bigger than the one in New York City and save 10,000 trees every hour it's in operation. What we have seen is this country waking up and seeing us for who we are. Never to be a flyover state ever again, to be the destination. And I want to congratulate Louisville on another nonstop flight to another major city. To never, to never have people look down their nose at us ever again. I'm from this state. I know how that feels. Or as I like to say to people in other states, if they want to keep making fun of our accents, we're going to steal their jobs too. That's the type of role we're on. And you know what? That's the type of role you're on. Because while last year was incredible, we just had the best January of economic development. In the last 5 years, and oh my goodness, Louisville led the way. It was Quadrant Magnetics with 20 new jobs, more than $95 million in investments. You are making rare earth metal magnets right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It was Eurofin Genomics with $35 million of new investment. It was Piston Automotive with $24.8 million of new investment, 67 new jobs. Confluent Health, 350 new jobs, $10 million of investment. The Kroger Fulfillment Center, $700,000 of investment, 161 new jobs. Y'all in Louisville announced 600 new jobs in January alone. You ought to be really proud of that. You know what? Everybody around this country are starting to take notice. You know, Site Selection Magazine just came out with their ratings from last year, And Kentucky was #1 in our region in per capita economic development announcements, but even better than that, we were #3 in the entire country. Now, we're the talk. We're the talk of every boardroom across America, and now every country across this globe not only knows who we are and where we are, but also what we can do. This area has been such a driver, such an economic powerhouse, bringing in the jobs of tomorrow to where we're not chasing the jobs of yesterday. And so that hopefully, through programs like Everybody Counts and others, we can provide every single graduating senior in JCPS either a direct path to higher education that won't put them in debt, or a good job that can start a good career, and try to make sure we don't lose any individual. We have such good days ahead of us. You know, it was even the other day that the most skeptical or difficult of critics, we call them bond rating agencies. They make it harder to borrow money. They make it cost more. You know, for 15 years, they've rated our economy as either negative or stable. For 15 years. November of 2007, they've been saying that about us. 3 weeks ago, for the first time in 15 years, S&P upgraded Kentucky's economic outlook to positive. So as we sit here today, with COVID decreasing, with a bright future in front of us, it's about taking the great lesson of COVID in that everybody does count and that we are all connected. And if we truly want to get through the darkest times or to sprint into the brightest times, we got to make sure that everybody can come along and that nobody, based on what we've been through in COVID, is suffering from too much debt, isn't stable in their housing, and ultimately doesn't have the opportunity to experience what I believe will be an era of prosperity. And you know what? We saw a good sign just a couple weeks ago that that era of prosperity can truly reach every neighborhood, as we were able to announce a $100 million investment in the west end of Louisville in the form of the first hospital, I think, in the area in 130 years. Yeah. A goodwill campus that is going to do so much, not just provide incredible job training, but if you're providing the job training, you bring the employers right there. And with our state government center sitting right next to it, hundreds of jobs in a 3-block area that ought to give us all hope. But today, what we're trying to do is to make sure that at the end of these challenging times, that we can get everybody through it. And we could have never, ever done this without the help of just about everybody in this room. To help in 2020, we used Federal CARES Act dollars to set up the Healthy at Home Eviction Relief Fund, which provided emergency rental assistance to both owners and renters. In February of last year, that was about a $30 million program when we first launched it. We relaunched it with $264 million to help Kentuckians. The way it worked, there were 3 different funds set up. There's one for Louisville, one for Lexington, and one for the rest of the state. Overall, this program has had an incredible impact. In working with partners, we've now paid out $119.7 million in rent and utility assistance for 25,789 households, averaging $4,639 of help to each of those Kentucky families. It includes $108 million in rent assistance and $12.8 million in utility assistance. And we are encouraging eligible tenants and landlords across Kentucky to apply for the remainder. The program has been absolutely essential in our fight against COVID. You can't be healthy at home if you can't stay in your home. And we have seen and continue to see just how important our homes are in every aspect of our lives. How important they've been for our kids in the midst of COVID, and how important they are in getting people back to work. Last year, it became clear of just how great of a job that everybody in this room was doing. Because, see, you had that direct fund here in Louisville, but in short order, you had helped so many people that the fund was running low. I got a call from Mayor Fisher bragging on your work and saying, well, you needed more money. And so I was proud last year to be right here handing $27 million over to help shore up the program. And today, we're doing it again. We had more left in the state fund, and we know how many folks that you all are helping. So today, we're proud to provide $27 million more to the Louisville Emergency Rental Assistance and Eviction Relief efforts. You all made this happen. You all earned these dollars. And so I'd ask everybody who has spent even an hour helping people qualify for this fund and stay in their homes, stand up so we can recognize and honor you. So they say the reward for good work is more work. You all are going to have more work, but you're going to be able to help so many more people. And let me just say from my own perspective, y'all are doing God's work. You're living out your faith and your values. We're serving the lost, the lonely, and the left behind, those that my faith teach me we are supposed to be there for. We're living out Scripture by giving people a hand up and not trying to kick them while they're down. Now, the fact that we have a safety net and an additional safety net during COVID is absolutely critical because people do fall on hard times. And we want to pick them back up. Make sure that we can give the assistance that we need so they can turn their lives around. And let's never forget, where there's struggling parents, there are struggling children. And when you don't help those parents, those children don't get that help either. I want to thank Christy McCravey, Executive Director of the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust, and all of our folks. Oh, over here. As well as so many other great partners, Louisville Metro's Office of Resilience and Community Services, the Office of Housing and Community Development. Next time I'll start there. Area Community Ministries, the Louisville Urban League, and the Legal Aid Society. But you know what? All working together. That's true Team Kentucky spirit, putting our people first. I'm really proud to be your governor. We also want to thank everybody at Kentucky Housing Corporation, which helps administer the state program. And I want to brag on them too, because all together with our efforts, the National Low Income Housing Coalition recently ranked Kentucky as a champion of innovation for its federal rent and utility program. Something all Team Kentucky can be proud of. I do want to make a quick plug for the fact that now we have an assistance program for homeowners as well. The Team Kentucky Homeowners Assistance Fund that has about $85.4 million in it. It can help with past due mortgage payments. It can help with various insurance or homeowners association fees. It can provide up to $35,000 in assistance per household. And you can go and learn more at teamkyhaf.ky.gov. Gospel of Matthew tells us, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in." Y'all have helped a ton of people. Done a better job at helping people than anybody else in the country, and I can't imagine a better thing to be number one in. And I am really excited that now you have the funding to help a lot more of them. God bless y'all. God bless Louisville. God bless the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Oh, here, I'll hold it for you.
Well, thank you, Governor. Yeah, these are, I think most of us have the jobs we have because we wanted to help people. And, I've always believed when you do good things happen. And sometimes it's not always recognized, but if you keep at it, it is recognized. So it'll be recognized by the White House, by our governor, and then to have the funds flow to, again, do more good work. Man, that's a good day. That's a good day. So thank you all again. And thank you once again, Governor. We're grateful for your support and Team Kentucky for providing these additional dollars. They're going to really help out. And with this new allocation, as mentioned, the state has given Louisville $54 million for our rental assistance program. That's more than 40% of the total dollars our city has received for eviction prevention. So that's what you call a major partner in doing major good work. So these rental assistance programs have been a true lifeline for many of our residents, and we recognize that tremendous demand still remains, because we've got to recognize that women in particular have been particularly hard hit by this pandemic and keeping them out of the workforce. America had made a lot of progress on that, but some believe now that we've fallen back some 20 years in terms of women participation in the workforce. So that's one of the other reasons why this rental assistance is so important. These funds are going to help ensure we continue processing the more than 2,700 applications in our queue for assistance, helping thousands of more individuals and families stay safely housed. And that said, we know, and we've stated before, that these programs are going to conclude at some point. And given that pipeline of applications and the need, we anticipate closing applications at the end of this month, that we might be able to extend that out a little bit longer. So there's tremendous need. This money's not going to be sitting around. We know the pandemic exacerbated already the eviction crisis we've had. So looking to longer-term solutions, as the governor noted, we know there's a vital need in our community to expand our affordable housing inventory, and more affordable housing means fewer people living beyond their means and fewer evictions. And so this past November, I was joined by Metro Council in signing an ordinance allocating $89 million in federal American Rescue Plan funding to address homelessness and affordable housing. By far the biggest one-time investment we've ever seen in our city. I want to thank Councilwoman McCraney and Chambers Armstrong for being with us and being such strong, fierce champions in this effort. Thank you, guys. Now, this also includes a $40 million investment in affordable housing units through the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And that brought our total funding for affordable housing to, in the life of our administration now, to more than $100 million. So we are the ones that really started funding that, and now to be over $100 million, going to do a lot of good in this area. We can't do it alone. So I'm really pleased that Christy McCravey, the Executive Director of the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund, is here with us today to talk about what the Trust Fund has been able to accomplish and its goals for the future. She's doing a great job. Welcome, Christy McCravey.
Good afternoon. I'm Christy McCravey, and I bring you greetings on behalf of the staff and Board of Directors of the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund. I'm happy to be here today to celebrate, as he said, celebrate another injection of eviction prevention funds into our community. Thank you, Governor Beshear, for your commitment to help Kentuckians in need, and thank you, Mayor Fisher, for your unprecedented investments in affordable housing in our community. Thank you, Metro Council, because he couldn't have done it without you. Since 2017, the Trust Fund has assisted in the preservation or creation of nearly 3,600 units of affordable housing in this community. Though they are not all yet ready for occupancy, this number represents a whole lot of families who no longer have to worry about the ability to pay rent or the threat of eviction. These investments have been reactions to years of disinvestments in our most vulnerable families. Low wages led to unaffordable and unstable housing, as well as other social and community issues that, left unattended, over time take a toll on the entire community. Whether you think you are impacted or not, let me remind you that we all are impacted by those types of actions. That's why we must remember that when we make investments Throughout the entire community, we all thrive. So instead of continuing to react to this crisis, it's time to put policies in place to be proactive in addressing our housing needs. In addition to the state housing credit, and the American Rescue Plan funds, establishing a dedicated source of funding for the trust fund would ensure that future families will be able to have access to safe, decent, affordable housing for years to come. Pro-action leads to walkable, stabilized neighborhoods throughout the entire community. Pro-action means families not worrying about eviction because they are forced to live in housing that takes nearly all of their paychecks. Congratulations again for coming to the rescue of families in need, Governor Beshear. Also, Mayor Fisher. I've elevated him. Thank you, Metro Council. Now let's envision a community differently and commit to making investments in affordable housing for years to come. Thank you. Let's have more celebrations like this. Amen. And let's serve our families. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Christy, for all you do. Now, part of expanding access to affordable housing includes offering residents a greater choice of where they live. So as part of our equity review, Louisville's Metro Office of Planning and Design Services is considering changes to the Land Development Code that would allow for duplexes, triplexes, and other small apartment buildings in more areas of our city. Currently, the majority of our city is zoned single-family. So to grow our affordable housing stock, we also need more variety of housing options in our city. And a single-family home just doesn't work for every family. You're seeing some cities starting to do this around the country, and we want to be part of that leading edge. We also need more tools for our toolbox, and that is why I continue to ask our state legislators to pass House Bill 86, which would establish a Kentucky Affordable Housing Credit. This is something the Chamber is behind as well, and it would have many positive effects across the state to increase affordability. So in closing, I want to say thank you again to the governor, to Christy, and to you all. Couldn't happen, wouldn't happen without you all. So as we know, teamwork makes the dream work, and we're going to keep dreaming that we can do more for more and more of our citizens here in Louisville. And once again, we're so grateful that the COVID eviction prevention relief kept thousands of Louisvillians safely at home during the pandemic. People like Judy Smith. She's a longtime resident in Louisville's Park Hill neighborhood, and she's going to share a few words with us now on the video screen.
Morning, baby. We not be the best neighborhood, but we got really good neighbors.
I just made it.
I grew up on the street. Yeah. No matter where I seem like I gravitate right back here. This is home to me. Mm-hmm. I was there, I made 2.5 months at Trayton Oaks. They broke out real bad with the COVID. This old girl had to leave. So I left and I lost that part of the income. Sometimes with older people, it's kind of hard to ask for help, especially when you've been used to doing it. But sometimes you have to. And I was one of them people. I had to do it. They took care of me great. I called. They gave me the information. They told me to do this, that, and the third. I got all my paperwork together. I needed help. I got it, and it was simple. It helped me out a lot. It paid my rent up, and I'm doing well now. Mm-hmm.
She's one of tens of thousands of people that you all have helped out. So if that doesn't make you feel good, you're not alive. Thank you all for coming. That's right. There you go. We're out of here.